All right, hey, this is Act 2 of the podcast. We're getting right back into it. If you missed Act 1, go back and listen to that thing. Otherwise, this isn't going to make any sense. Okay, see ya. For the folks on Facebook and YouTube, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here. Facebook and Twitch brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. Spectacular group over there. If you, Bob says, now we got to walk on EZ shells. Anyway, thank you so much to Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. You can find them online at irvines.com. T-Dub says, it's not walking on eggshells. Don't be a whiny bitch. Exactly. ervines.com. That's ervines.com. Fantastic place to get your vehicle repaired. 616-532-6600 for Irvine's. Tag Accounting and Tax Services online at tagcpa.net. If you go to their website from anywhere in the U.S., you can check them out and take advantage of what they are offering, and that is top-notch tax service to get your taxes done. tagcpa.net. Thank you so much. Paintball with TC Paintball online at tcpaintballgr.com. Have some fun. Book an event today at TC Paintball. You can hang out with your friends. You can do a bachelor party. You can do some workplace team building, all at TC Paintball. Thank you so much. I want to get into this story that Patrick Doyle sent me, and it's really something. This is why we need child protective services. You know how occasionally, like, you hear about people who have CPS banging on the door, and then you're like, oh my God, CPS, can you believe those assholes? Well, this is a long watch. It's about 8.5 minutes, but it's a story of a 5-year-old kid. Well, actually 9 years old, thought to be 9 years old, out of Muncie, Indiana. Years ago, the dad and the mom got their parental rights taken away from them because they're on drugs. They gave the kid to grandpa. The guy got his parental rights back, the dad. They give the kid back to the dad. Grandpa says, I wouldn't do that. He's a drug addict. Well, fast forward, something terrible is thought to have happened. We're going to get into this.
A little boy, nowhere to be found.
And there's been no sign of him.
Allegations of horrible abuse.
I just hope it isn't true, what he went through.
And now, a desperate search for answers in a case that's baffling investigators.
Where's Hayden Manis?
That's the question that we ask ourselves every day.
Tonight, 13 investigates a missing child. Here's what makes this case so unusual. This little boy has been missing not just a few days or weeks or even months. That boy's been missing for years. And it's only now that his disappearance is coming to light. Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel joins us tonight to break down this disturbing story that raises so many questions.
It sure does. The biggest question, what happened to Hayden? Hayden Manis has not been seen in more than 5 years, and both his family and police now fear the worst.
I love you, Cookie.
Cell phone videos and pictures. These are what Hayden's family now clings to after realizing this little boy is nowhere to be found.
I miss him dearly.
Hayden's grandfather and 3 of his aunts met with 13 investigators to share their grief.
Oh, God.
To ask the public for help.
Just give us some answers.
And to try to make sense of how a 4.5-year-old just disappeared. When's the last time you saw Hayden?
Christmas Eve, 2019, at our family gathering.
He was getting presents. He was excited. That was the last last time.
When Hayden left his great-grandmother's house that Christmas Eve in 2019, he was with his father, Dustin, who has a criminal history involving drugs and alcohol. In fact, Hayden's father and mother both lost custody of their 1-year-old son after they tested positive for cocaine. Police also found Hayden and his father in a motel room littered with heroin.
Oh, my God.
That's when Hayden went to live with his grandfather, Gary.
He's a good kid. I never had any trouble out of him the whole time I had him.
But a year and a half later, after Hayden's father served his sentence and completed treatment and counseling, a judge ordered Hayden be returned to his father.
I begged him not to give him.
Okay, so right away, if you're a dad and you lose the ability to parent, you're a drug addict, you go to prison, you get out, shouldn't you at some point during your, once you get your parental rights back, don't they do it where they kind of like check on you? See if you're okay, see if the kid's okay. Maybe you almost like you're on probation. Shouldn't that be part of it?
Back. It wasn't my choice. They wouldn't even let me speak in court.
At that point,
Okay, I wanna
Hayden was
back up
about
to
to
what Dad's,
completed
what
treatment and
Grandpa
counseling.
said.
A judge ordered Hayden be returned to his father.
I begged him not to give him back. It wasn't my choice. They wouldn't even let me speak in court.
Okay.
At that point, Hayden was about to turn 3. His father took him to visit his aunts and uncles and cousins every once in a while, but those visits started getting further apart. After the Christmas get-together in 2019, the visit stopped completely, even though Hayden's relatives kept trying, texting Dustin to invite him and Hayden to family gatherings.
At least every month I would message him, can you come and do this?
Can you and Hayden come have dinner with us? And he would respond with, we'll try. Everything's fine. We're okay. Hayden's fine. We'll try to make it, but we never.
Okay, so what we have here is he just kept kicking the can down the road, Dad did. Like, hey, well, yeah, but maybe. And then, so for years this happens. And nobody, thought. I mean, obviously there was a failure with CPS, didn't check on him, or maybe maybe you don't have to. I don't know. But the fact that I think these folks here should some alarm should have gone off in their head, I think. But I think we might have some stupid people here. You should have been suspicious that something may have been wrong if this is where it was leading you, And they didn't do anything.
We never did get to see him. He never came.
And that's how things were for years, until this past September, when some of Dustin's family members discussed not seeing Hayden in a long time and started getting suspicious. They asked police to check on Hayden. Police found Dustin, but not his son. And the story Dustin told police did not add up. That was 5 months ago. And today,
I still love you more.
Hayden is still missing.
Where's Hayden? Nobody can come up with Hayden. The last person that was responsible for him couldn't provide any information.
Just caught a glimpse of the comment from Yoda World. Hey, can Hayden come to the phone? Oh, sorry. He's been doing laundry for 3 years. Rebecca says, at what point can you blame the courts and assign responsibility to the person who approved returning the kid to his father? Tyler adds, I'm guessing murder lover Linda is excited by this story. That's funny. Jeremy says, did nobody think, quote, hey, maybe we'll just go over to Hayden since he never comes to us? Badger says he probably got deported. God, your jokes are all so good that I feel bad. T-Dub says, Ball State hoodie, ZZ Top beard, classic trash. Megan, referring to Grandpa, says, those ears, how did he not hear the kid go missing? Then she adds, half of my jeans are in Muncie. Gag. T-Dub adds, I've never, ever heard of Muncie, Indiana. Sounds like poverty and hookers. No, it's the home of Ball State, and that's where David Letterman went to school. T-Dub says he got sick of the hard living life and he left.
Information about where he was. And that's when we realized, I think,
Something terrible had happened.
yeah.
Where is Hayden Manis?
That's the question we ask ourselves every day.
Eric Hoffman is the prosecutor in Delaware County, where sheriff's
This is a
investigators have been trying to
colossal
locate
fuck-up. All
Hayden
of this
for
is
5
ridiculous.
months. They started by interviewing Dustin, who claimed DCS showed up one day.
By the way, they're talking now about how they interviewed the dad. There's a M. Night Shyamalan plot twist in this coming out.
Several years ago, and took Hayden away to go live with his mother.
I mean, typically you got to think where Dad Dustin is, that's where the kid is.
Did Hayden go back into the custody of the Department of Child Services?
No, that was disproven quite easily, quite quickly.
Did
Dad
Hayden
said, yeah, CPS took him, but that's not true.
go back to his birth mom?
No, we knew that was a lie. He was not telling the truth.
Investigators know what did not happen, but figuring out what did happen, that's been far more difficult because Hayden was missing for years before police ever learned of his disappearance.
To say that has complicated this case is an understatement. To get the call in 2024 that you've not seen a child since 2020 is a huge hurdle.
And that's not the only challenge for detectives. In November, Muncie police arrested Hayden's dad on more drug charges after they found Dustin with heroin and meth. He spent a few weeks in jail before posting bond. 4 days later, Dustin Manis died from a drug overdose.
Just because Dustin Manis is dead does not mean the investigation is dead. We're still going forward.
13 investigates has
What a colossal disaster. How? Where do you begin?
learned detectives have searched this Muncie house and removed potential evidence from inside. It's the last place Hayden was known to be living with his father and his dad's former girlfriend. Detectives interviewed that former girlfriend and some of her family members before they moved out of state a few weeks ago. No one has been able to lead police to Hayden, and no one has been charged in his disappearance. How can something like this even happen? How can a little boy just disappear and no one knows where he is or what happened to him? How is something like this possible?
There's very few ways that it's possible.
I'm a little disappointed in this reporter for not going the route of, so the court gives a child to a drug addict, and in the last 5 years, no one's asked any questions about how the kid is doing. Can you walk me through that? And there might be a legitimate excuse, like maybe legally that the court can't do anything. But I still think that question needs to be asked. And so that, I mean, 'cause that's a big part of the story. In my opinion, there's colossal fuck-ups with the courts, Child Protective Services, the stupid hillbilly family. This is all fucked up.
You know, an adult can disappear. Kids aren't like that. Kids don't have passports. Kids can't travel. Kids Hayden's age just don't go somewhere. A child can only go missing in very few ways, none of which are voluntary.
You suspect something terrible has happened?
Yes.
Do you think Hayden's alive?
No, I don't. I don't think he's with us anymore.
No, I don't believe he's alive.
I do not know. Not after talking to the police, I don't.
The family says since the investigation began, they've heard stories that Hayden was badly abused and neglected inside this house before he went missing.
I just hope it isn't true, what he went through.
Things you've heard are incredibly disturbing.
Disgusting.
Horrifying.
The investigation is ongoing, so at this point, detectives and the prosecutor are not releasing specific details. What we've heard has been shared with police is pretty horrible details and information.
I would agree. it's haunting. It's definitely haunting, some of the facts in this case.
Do you have any reason to believe that Hayden is still alive?
Based on the evidence that I've seen and the interviews that have been conducted, I do not have a reason to believe that. There are very few days I come to this office and I don't think of Hayden Manis. So this case is on my mind and it's on the investigator's mind on a daily basis. We're not going to stop until we get to an answer. We need to know the truth.
What the
Again,
fuck is going on in Muncie, Indiana?
There are so many questions, Scott, questions police are still trying to answer.
I mean, Bob, surely somebody out there's got to know something about this.
Investigators think so. In fact, Hayden was just recently added to the National Registry of Missing and Exploited Children. He'd be 9, almost 10 years old right now. If you have any information about Hayden or his disappearance, any piece of information, no matter how small, contact the Delaware County Sheriff's Investigations Unit. We've got that number on the screen and on our website.
I think one of you, it might have been Megan, who said, yeah, they got to start with that ex-girlfriend. Megan says, sorry, where did the mom go? I think she's just out of the picture. She had parental rights taken from her, but they didn't say that parental rights were given back to her. So she's probably, who knows? I almost think that they did this story with like not enough information that could be revealed. There's so many goddamn questions on this. Megan says, I want to guess what happened, but I will not. Well, I mean, I think the kid is dead. There's no way that he's not. T-Dub says, those hill jacks don't belong in Michigan. Send these fuckers back to Tennessee. No, they're in, this is Indiana. Okay? Yoda World said, if they set him with the drug dad, how is the mom worse? David says, wow, the show is dark today. Yeah, I didn't plan on it to be. T-Dub also says that detective has a massive head. Yeah, that is a real head scratcher there. My God, what a weird-ass story. Okay, we're going to change the vibe here with something that I discovered on my own. It is video shot inside of a doggy daycare. Murder lover Linda writes, the dad could have sold him to someone for drug money. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. The kid is going to go on. It's going to be just like that story. You know how Marilyn Manson used to be that kid from the Wonder Years? It's going to be like that. This kid is going to end up being in a band. Like, he's going to be the next Marilyn Manson. The kid is alive and well, but he's, well, not well. He's fucked up. Now, I hope the kid's still alive, but probably not. My God. All right, this is video from a doggy daycare. And they have a heated pool just for dogs. They get to jump in the water twice a week. Plus therapy sessions for older pups and those recovering from surgery. So they have a camera on it. They throw all the dog toys in the pool, and then they open the door, and then the dogs go nuts. Let's take a look. What's this one right here? So excited. What a thrill. Oh, don't leave. Come on back in. Oh, shit. None of my dogs are interested in water at all. Even O'Neill. Not even in the slightest. Bruce a little bit, but we got to put a life jacket on him because he'll die. That is outstanding. Megan says, if I didn't work at Irvine's, I'd be at a doggy daycare. T-Dub says, toss NFK in there to wash the peanut butter and poop off. Stevie says, this is the best thing ever. Rebecca says, dream job right there. Oh, my God, that's great. Okay. Outstanding. Love that. Let's see. What else do I have to share with you? Couple things. First of all, this is from an NBA game. Looks like these two players, one of them is European. I think this is that guy Jokic that like beats everybody's ass. Jokic and this other guy, they do a thing where they do fake kisses on the cheek. And this other player sees it for the first time. You'll watch his eyes. He can't believe what he's seeing. He thinks that there's something going on. Let's take a look at this. This is fantastic.
They're only ahead of Utah by percentage points.
Jokic.
The West
so
tight.
Hey,
How do you think the
take
Butler
this.
trade
Now
is
what you
going
got?
to help Golden State if it does?
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Utah by
What the
percentage
fuck?
points. The West
So that guy's dressed in street clothes, player on the bench. Last second, he catches what's up. He's like, oh, my God, they're kissing. If you're in the audio podcast listening to this, I will include that in the show notes. Jameis Winston, this is part of the Super Bowl coverage, I guess. Jameis Winston is at the Super Bowl, and he sucks as a quarterback, but people like him on a microphone. I don't find him. I think he's annoying as fuck. But he interacts with Dan Skipper of the Detroit Lions. And this is the interview between these two.
You are somebody left tackles, aren't you?
I'm playing Detroit.
You play in Detroit?
Yeah.
You play in Detroit right now?
Yes.
So Winston knows he's an offensive lineman, but Winston doesn't know who this is.
You are somebody left tackles, aren't you?
I'm playing Detroit.
You play in Detroit?
Yeah.
You play in Detroit right now?
Yes.
Are you Nate Soldier?
Dan Skipper.
Dan Skipper. I knew this was somebody left tackle. But listen, we just ran into Dan Skipper. Dan, listen. How we going to
Winston's like 6'5", 6'6". Look how much bigger Dan Skipper is.
get on this boat?
Good luck.
Hey, one thing about offensive linemen, guys, is they don't talk much, but they dominate the trenches. Everybody wants to know this one question. I don't know why they keep asking me this, but where should I sign?
Whoever wants to pay you the most money so you can get a boat like that.
Well, I don't think they can pay me enough money to get a boat like that, Dan. Me and you had to combine our stuff together. Huh? How much you making? I'm just playing. I ain't gonna put that personal information out there.
I can't do it. He's such a fucking cornball. Jesus. Enough. Not a fan. Not a fan of Jameis Winston. T-Dub says the gayness scared him. Murder lover Linda's new name is gathering some attention. I see Chris loves it. Absolutely. All right. Before we move on, thank you as always to sponsors Green Medicine Shop at thegreenmedicineshop.com. You are awesome. Appreciate you. If you want to, if you're into the cannabis thing, you have to go to the Green Medicine Shop in Greenville, Michigan, and replenish your supply, please. They've been a key sponsor of mine for a little while, and I love them. So I know you could go to any shop in Michigan, but I want you to try the Green Medicine Shop in Greenville. Their website, thegreenmedicineshop.com. Grand Rapids Gold Basketball. They are back. They've got a game coming up on February 22nd. You're going to want to get tickets. Search Grand Rapids Gold Basketball on Google. I think you can just type grandrapidsgold.com. And it'll take, grandrapidsgold.com. It'll take you right to their site. February 22nd, they got a game. That is a Saturday. I, of course, will be there. and it's Paw Patrol night. This is going to be big, so you better get your tickets now. You can go to GrandRapidsGold.com and get your tickets for Paw Patrol night. If you got kids, little ones, or family members that are little ones or have little ones or whatever, you're going to want to be there. They got the Paw Patrol characters there. We're giving away freebies, and it's going to be awesome. That is the next home game. They've got some time off before their next home game. But that comes up February 22nd. Go to GrandRapidsGold.com. Also coming up is Flint Tropics Night shortly thereafter, where we will have our there will be a bear wrestling exhibition, just like the movie, at that event. Pulling out all the stops with the Grand Rapids Gold online at GrandRapidsGold.com. Thank you very much. Thank you to King's Room Barbershop, 3 locations, Caledonia, not to mention Wyoming along 36th Street, and Northland Drive. Go to kingsroom.net for hours and exact locations and schedules for your stylists. Kingsroom.net for more information. Today in Trump has decided, as you know, he signed that executive order that says if this forever, it's been a thing, part of the Constitution, birthright citizenship. If you are born in the United States, you are a United States citizen. So if you're a visitor from another country and you have a kid, that kid is born an American. If you have, let's say you snuck into the country and you wanted to start a new life and work in the fields or whatever, all right, and you had a baby, that's an American citizen. Not anymore, at least in Trump's world, okay? Trump went ahead and said, all right, I'm making an executive order that says that if you are born in the United States and you are not a citizen of the United States, then that baby is getting deported. We're going to grab the mom, we're going to grab the baby, and anyone else we can find, and we're going to send the baby to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where the baby will be imprisoned for life. Some of this, I'm a little fuzzy on the details, as you might imagine, but that essentially is what is going to happen. Now, I don't know if I like that. I mean, like I said yesterday, I like the idea of Trump doing the mass deportation on the Venezuelan gang. I think we can all get behind that. I think that Trump, I wish he had a little bit of grace when it comes to the immigrants who are here actually living as law-abiding people and contributing to society. I think that if this would be great if he somehow could have threaded the needle to do something for those people to make them permanent American citizens since they're already here and working, you know. It remains to be seen whether or not that will happen. Probably not. But one thing he was sure of is that he wanted to make sure that these people that are born birthright cannot be citizens of the U.S. Chris Kay, who knows a hell of a lot more about this than I do, he says the 14th Amendment says different. Supreme Court will ultimately have to decide birthright citizenship. Okay? Now, but Trump has laid down the gauntlet to no, I don't want this. Rebecca says Trump having any sort of compassion would require him to have a soul. Yeah, part of me keeps holding out hope that he was like, I just want to get elected, so I'm going to take this hard stance, but then once I get in office, I'm going to soften it. You know how a lot of times when people are elected, they don't carry through on their campaign promises? That's what I'm hoping happens with Trump. Okay? However, a federal judge ordered indefinitely blocking Trump's executive order. And so that was halted in its tracks. But that doesn't mean that this won't go up further and further and further up to the Supreme Court. I mean, a federal judge is pretty hard or is pretty high up. I don't know what level of court it is, but that is U.S. District Judge Joe Coffenauer. That is the preliminary injunction that was granted earlier on Thursday. But then the United States Department of Justice has now appealed that order. So I'm guessing what happens now is then it goes up the food chain. So it will be heard now by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. It's the first Justice Department appeal of a lawsuit challenging major Trump administration actions. Coffner is an old judge. He'd been around since Ronald Reagan. He said when he made it clear that he was going to block Trump, he said it's become even more apparent to our president the rule of law is but an impediment to his policy goals. The rule of law is, according to him, something to navigate around or simply ignore, whether that be for political or personal gain. Nevertheless, in this courtroom and under my watch, the rule of law is a bright beacon which I intend to follow. The order by Coffner early Thursday followed a nearly identical injunction granted by a federal judge in Maryland on Wednesday, which also remains in effect indefinitely. So this is going to be interesting. Will Trump get his way in making it so that birthright citizenship will no longer be a thing? A part of me, a little bit, agrees with if you're born here, you're instantly an American citizen. I think, I mean, I don't know if it's worth challenging, but it is a little bit of a blanket thing that, I mean, come on now. I don't think that if, like in some of these cases, I think that should be not necessarily go and deport people. But, I mean, if you're in a person who's in the country illegally and you have a child, I think that if the person is a law-abiding citizen in the country illegally, these two can eventually become citizens, kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I don't want to get into the spot where they're just, everybody is treated the same, whether they're gang members or whether they're people that are in the country who are actually doing all the right things with the exception of getting in here legally. Some people just cannot afford to get into the country legally. It's nearly impossible for them. We need to make it easier for people once they attempt to get in this country to actually get in the country. That's how I feel about it. But I like the idea of getting the bad guys out. Nothing wrong with that. Cole says executive order, remove that judge. I don't know about that. T-Dub says Trump don't give a fuck. He does what he wants. Rebecca says he stacked the Supreme Court, so no doubt they overturned the 14th Amendment. T-Dub also adds, King's Room is where it's at for a haircut. Go see D on 36th Street. Who is that again? What is her name? Her full name? Chris says it's xenophobic to assume that anyone who doesn't look like us is a criminal. Totally true. All right. So let's see. What have we got here? We've got that story. We've got missing kid from Trash Town. We got dogs in the pool. We got basketball kiss fest. We got Jameis Winston is annoying. We had a very annoying moment in the show, and hopefully putting that to bed. Let's see. Anything else? Snoop talking about Bill Belichick and his hot girlfriend. The NCAA has responded to Trump. Trump said in another move that I like, and I know that I think it was, I forget which one of you said, it seems like EZ is liking a lot of Trump's maneuvering. I have liked some of the things he's changed. You know, I don't want any of you to think that I am way far right or way far left. I am usually a little left of center or a little right of center. It depends. And I would say recently I've been left of center. I would say that fiscally I am right of center. Socially I am I'm left, probably right down the middle when it comes to what do you call that when you talk with other nations? Diplomacy with other nations, or maybe even right of center when it comes to that. I was staunchly opposed to Trump being in office, but as I said on the show, once he was elected, I said I hope he makes positive change. I hope that a lot of his saber rattling he did during the campaign is just that. I hope he does a good job, and I hope he doesn't abuse the position of president for retribution. These are all things I've said in the past. I 1,000,000% leading up to ever since they started talking about people who are transgender, formerly men, becoming women, entering sports, I'm staunchly opposed to that. Not fair. Don't like it. Not at all. Now Trump says he is making a change and says transgender policy to limit women's competition to athletes assigned female at birth. I support that, but I don't support the rhetoric that goes along with this, because Trump makes it a point to actually say horrible things about people who are transgender. I just don't want for women that are competing to go against a guy, or formerly a guy, now identifying as a woman, like Leah Thomas, the swimmer. That's like one of the best examples that there is about this. This is Trump signing that.
Of female athletes behind him, President Donald Trump issued an executive order banning transgender women from playing on women's sports teams.
The war on women's sports is over.
The move reverses the Biden administration's interpretation of the Title IX law. And
see, now if you're Trump and you're going to sign this, you see all these young women here, these little girls, they love him. They think that this is the best thing in the world. The last thing that all of these young women want is to have some chick with a massive schlong dominating in the pool or gymnastics or at tennis or whatever, you know?
Of the Title IX law and prohibits athletes who are biologically male from competing in women's sports.
This common sense action from President Trump ends the disgusting betrayal of women and girls by the previous administration, who for years catered to radical activists who wanted biological males to be treated as women.
Democratic Senator
some of that language is a little strong.
Mark Warner argues this shouldn't be decided at the federal level.
This issue, particularly around sports participation, ought to be left to the sports leagues.
I don't think so. It leaves too much to chance. It's you want this uniform. You want it the same all the way around. So I totally disagree with that.
Are expected to be legal challenges, with critics saying the president's executive order will lead to discrimination and harassment.
The White House warned schools who don't comply with this executive.
I would argue that discrimination and harassment is here to stay in any forum.
Order risk losing funding, and says it will also apply to the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles.
America categorically rejects transgender lunacy.
But this is just the latest
in a
series
when he says that shit. I can't get behind that, you asshole.
Orders the Trump administration has signed targeting the trans community, including executive orders to ban transgender troops and to restrict the
I don't agree with that either.
Government definition.
Transgender people should be in the military.
gender as only male or female.
A sweeping effort to reclaim our culture and our laws from the radical left crusade against biological reality.
In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
So it's kind of fucked up. I don't like a lot of that. The only part of that I like is that, what we talked about. So with that being said now, the NCAA college sports has changed their policy, like right after. The day after, they have now changed their policy saying what Trump has said. They're falling in line. If you don't, schools will lose funding. And so that's it. This is going to be a sweeping change. And I doubt anybody is going to lift a finger. Like they said, there'll be some challenges to it by law, but I don't know if America agrees with that. You would find a lot of people who support transgender people, like me, who don't support that. I'm sorry, and I've had discussions with my soon-to-be son-in-law. I was like, I know. I won't bullshit you. I mean, you were born a female and now you're a male, but there's no way you can tell me that this is fair to the women who have played these sports. And I'm just looking at them. Okay? It just doesn't add up. I like the fact that more and more people are boldly becoming proud of being transgender, like Ash, from a woman to a man. And I still maintain that if enough of them are together, form your own fucking league or your own division. That would be great. Can you imagine? I mean, if you join forces and actually, I would do free PA work for the transgender hockey league. Okay, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I would fully support anything transgender sports. I'm still waiting for somebody to start that. I think that if there were a transgender basketball league, I think there'd be just as many people to support that as they do the WNBA. Because it's neat. You got a bunch of people that, they're all transgender. Who wouldn't want to be part of that? Just to see it. It's kind of like a donkey show. You want to see that at least once. My God. Murder lover Linda talks about Trump's press conference. Is Megyn Kelly, Free Market Solutions' daughter, standing there? Maybe. The war on women's sports is over, but say goodbye to your reproductive rights, says Rich. Yep, that's too bad. Megan says, let anyone in the military that wants to be, because I don't want to fucking go. Pickle Tonu. Boy, some of these names. Says, dump Trump, America strong. Transgender volleyball. Chicks can see dick and dudes can see nice ass. Donko says, do you think the transgender leagues would have sub-leagues based on cisgender? Serious question. One thing at a time, I guess. All right. Corey says, I don't know how far back that goes. He says you did vote for him twice. Did I? I think I did. I voted for him. I don't think I voted for him in 2016. Who did he run against in 2016? Hillary Clinton? I voted for Hillary Clinton then. Yes. And then in 20, I voted for Trump. And then in 24, I voted for Kamala Harris. I always lose. I'm always voting for losers. Corey says, so once apologies. No apologies. That's who I felt was the best candidate. Go fuck yourself. All right. Okay. So that's kind of a powder keg. If you need a mortgage, reach out to the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Buy now, refinance later. 231-332-6505. That's 231-332-6505. From any state in the U.S., you can get your mortgage. 231-332-6505. When it comes to health insurance, if you are in between jobs or if your employer does not offer insurance or you're starting a business on your own, you need your insurance or health care through healthcare.gov. And Frank Fuss from My Policy Shop Insurance is going to help you every step of the way. Doesn't cost you anything. His services are free. Just reach out at buyinsurancehere.com and he can help you navigate that today. Get started by going to buyinsurancehere.com, filling out the form. You are then on his radar. If by chance you don't hear from him, please reach out to me so that I can bust his balls. That has happened on occasion. I don't care for that, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. All right. Oh, my God, I got to sneeze. Hang on. Mic's going off. That's unfortunate. I am now going to say what I just said again. Thank you for the reminder that I still had my microphone off. Terribly embarrassing. So I'll say what I said there again, and then I'll edit this together for the audio podcast. I can't... it's difficult for me on a day like today to continue like being funny. Like I can talk about the stories, but I sometimes when I get in a foul mood like this, it's harder for me to have a good time. But that is done. We're not going to have that anymore. It's been a long time since I actually excommunicated somebody from the show. And I know there was some speculation, but yeah, he's going to have him back. But I'm done. And I don't want to hear his name anymore. So that's the end of that. And brighter days coming. It takes a lot to make me really say, all right, I've had enough. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm not doing this anymore. But we are no longer going to have to deal with that anymore. So I can tell you that with 100% certainty that I am officially done with this chapter. And it will not be part of anything going forward. And so sorry if that makes some of you sad, but I'm tired of having to have the show completely derailed with all of that nonsense. And I've got too much invested in this to waste it on one piece of shit who is so fucking geared at trying to derail this goddamn show. So fuck him. And he can fuck off. Thank you. And Dead Muncie Dad is the asshole of the day. And everybody involved with that terrible story. So sorry if you had to go through that. And I know some of you might be like, oh, I miss him. Well, I guess you're just going to have to talk to him. Thank you very much. Megan says, respectfully, piece of shit, feels harsh. Don't yell at me. Well, you know, I mean, you've got it from your end. I totally understand that. But from to me, he is. And so we're done. And that's how it is going forward. Ben says, on a better note, thank you for sharing the link, Eric. And I'd like to thank anyone in the chat that voted for me for Best Local Comedian. I won. Now, I didn't say it because you told me not to say anything, but if you're going to say it, then yes, let's finish on that spectacular note. Ben Glaze is the most popular, famous, awesome comedian in all of Grand Rapids, as voted on by the voters of Grand Rapids Magazine. That was big news shared on the Patreon yesterday. Congratulations, Ben. Now you have to start doing some comedy. God damn it. Start writing, you piece of shit. Holy fuck. Well done, Ben. Thank you, everybody. I'll talk to you on the Patreon. And there you go. Till then, have a good one. Bye-bye.